It started with a message no one was supposed to see. A message that would ignite one of the most explosive moments in the lives of three people whose names had already been linked too many times before: Can, Sara, and Stefano. The night before it all went public, Sara was at a dinner in Milan, smiling for the cameras as if nothing was wrong. Her laughter filled the restaurant, her hand brushed against Can's arm, and to everyone watching, she looked like a woman in love. But inside, her phone was buzzing, again and again, with messages from a man she didn't want to face, Stefano. He had written only one line: "Tell Ken yourself, or I will show him everything." The words hit her like a slap. She stared at the screen, her heart racing, her fingers frozen. For months, she had convinced herself that the past was behind her, that no one would ever find out what had happened before she met Ken, or what she had hidden after. But Stefano knew. And Stefano wasn't bluffing. Outside, the paparazzi flashes captured her smile. Inside, she felt the walls closing in. Stefano had been silent for a long time. Once part of her world, once someone she trusted, he had disappeared quietly, leaving only rumors behind. But now, his sudden reappearance had the weight of unfinished business, and a dangerous secret that could destroy everything Sara had built with Can. Later that night, after the event, Ken was driving her home. He was relaxed, talking about the next project, his voice calm, his smile effortless. Sara nodded, laughed where she had to, but she wasn't really listening. The phone in her purse felt like a ticking bomb. When they arrived at her apartment, she kissed him goodnight, holding on just a little longer than usual. "You're quiet tonight," he said, looking into her eyes. "Everything okay?" She forced a smile. "Just tired." He kissed her forehead and left. The moment the door closed, she pulled out her phone again. Another message had arrived. "You think I won't do it? You have until tomorrow." She sank onto the couch, her breath trembling. Her mind ran through 1,000 possibilities: denial, confrontation, lies, half-truths, but none of them felt safe. Stefano wasn't just anyone. He was someone who had been there before the fame, before the headlines, before Can. He had seen her at her weakest, her most reckless. And if he really had proof, messages, photos, anything, she knew that once it got out, the internet would never forgive her. By midnight, she called him. Her voice was cold. "What do you want?" There was silence on the other end for a few seconds, then his voice, low, steady, dangerous. "I want the truth, Sara. You owe him that much." Her hand trembled. "It's over, Stefano. It's been over for a long time. Not for me. And not for him, not until he knows." She closed her eyes. "You don't understand. If he finds out, I'll lose everything. Then tell him before I do." He hung up. Sara sat in the dark, her heart pounding. She knew Stefano's tone too well. When he said something, he meant it. And if he was serious, she had less than 24 hours before the truth exploded. And somewhere, miles away, Stefano stared at the same phone, scrolling through a folder of screenshots and videos that no one else had seen. He wasn't doing this for revenge, at least, that's what he told himself. He was doing it because he believed Ken deserved to know. "She's playing with fire," he muttered. "And she's about to get burned." The next morning, the sun over Rome rose beautifully, calm, warm, golden. But for Sara, it felt cold. Every ray of light that entered her room made her chest tighten more. She hadn't slept. The phone was still on the nightstand, its screen lighting up every few minutes with notifications she was too afraid to open. She had spent the entire night replaying Stefano's words in her head: "Tell him yourself, or I'll show him everything." The tone, the silence that followed, she knew he meant it. Stefano wasn't someone who bluffed for attention. If he said something, he would do it. Across the city, Stefano was already awake. He was sitting in a small cafe near Trastevere, scrolling through his phone, through the photos, the messages, the evidence. His hand shook slightly, not from anger, but from a strange mix of nostalgia and regret. There were things in that phone that could shatter Sara's image in seconds, and yet, he hesitated. He didn't want to ruin her, he wanted her to come clean. But time was running out. At the same moment, Ken was at a photo shoot. Flash after flash, smile after smile, he looked perfect, the world's favorite actor, the man everyone admired. But between takes, he noticed something off. Sara hadn't texted him all morning. Usually, she sent a message before breakfast, even if it was just a small heart emoji. This time, nothing. He ignored it at first. Maybe she was busy. But then, his manager came over with a phone, whispering something. There's a rumor starting online, something about Sara and Stefano. Old photos, maybe. We're checking. Ken frowned. What kind of photos? His manager hesitated. Personal. I don't think they're out yet. But it looks like someone's threatening to leak them. That sentence hit him harder than he expected. Who? Someone named Stefano, apparently, they used to know each other. Ken turned away, trying to process it. His chest tightened, not out of anger, but fear. What if it was true? What if she'd hidden something from him all this time? Meanwhile, Sara was pacing around her apartment. Her reflection in the mirror looked like a stranger. She picked up her phone, typed a message to Stefano. Please. Don't do this. You'll destroy me. He replied instantly. Then tell him. You have until tonight. Her eyes filled with tears. She didn't even know what she was more afraid of, losing Ken or facing what she had done. Because deep down, she knew, Stefano wasn't threatening her out of jealousy. He was doing it out of something darker, disappointment. At noon, Sara got a call. It was Ken. His voice was calm, but there was something in it, suspicion. Is everything okay? You're quiet. She swallowed hard. Yes, just tired. You sure? Yes, Ken. I'm fine. He paused for a second. Sara, did you know someone named Stefano? Her heart stopped. For a moment, she couldn't breathe. Yes, she whispered. A long time ago. He didn't reply. The silence that followed was enough to tell her everything. He already knew something was wrong. Okay, he finally said. We'll talk later. And then he hung up. Sara stood frozen, staring at her reflection again. She could feel it. The perfect image she had built, the trust she had fought for, all of it was starting to crack. Meanwhile, Stefano was done waiting. He opened his gallery, selected a few screenshots, the kind that could make headlines in seconds, and sent them to a private journalist contact. The message was simple: if she doesn't speak by tonight, you'll have your story. He turned off his phone, leaned back, and whispered to himself, you had your chance, Sara. Now, the truth will speak for you. By evening, the sky over Rome had turned gray, a storm brewing in the distance, and not just in the weather. It was the calm before the explosion, and Sara could feel it in her bones. She was sitting on the couch, staring blankly at her phone. Every vibration made her flinch. Her hands were cold, her heart racing. She knew time was running out. Stefano had given her until tonight, and she hadn't done it. The last message he sent an hour ago still sat on her screen, you chose silence. So now, I'll choose truth. She tried calling him, again and again. No answer. Meanwhile, across the city, Stefano's decision had already been made. He had sent everything, screenshots, messages, a few blurred photos, to a journalist known for never holding back. The email's subject line read, the truth behind Sara and her lies to Ken. And once that email left his outbox, there was no going back. The journalist acted fast. Within an hour, the first whispers began spreading online. On Twitter, a cryptic post appeared, tonight, the truth about Ken's girlfriend will shock everyone. Stay tuned. Then another, Sara Bluma's past resurfaces, and it's darker than anyone imagined. Sara's phone exploded with notifications. Friends, colleagues, even her PR manager, all calling, all panicking. She couldn't breathe. Can, at that exact moment, was driving back from a late meeting. His phone buzzed, and his assistant's name appeared on the screen. "Don't go online," the voice on the other end said immediately. "It's bad. Really bad." "What happened?" "It's about Sara. Something from her past. There are screenshots, messages, between her and a man named Stefano." Can's grip tightened on the steering wheel. "What kind of messages?" There was a long pause. "The kind that don't look good, Can." He didn't speak for several seconds. He just pulled over, turned off the engine, and stared ahead in silence. The noise of the city faded. He felt nothing, not anger, not heartbreak, just disbelief. The same woman who had promised honesty, who had looked him in the eye and said she had nothing to hide, now stood at the center of a scandal that could destroy them both. He opened his phone. It was everywhere, on news sites, social media, trending hashtags. The screenshots weren't explicit, but the tone was undeniable. The messages hinted at secrets, manipulation, maybe even betrayal. One message from Sara to Stefano read, "He can't know, Stefano. If he finds out, I lose everything." That was all it took. The internet erupted. Fans flooded the comments with outrage, others demanded explanations, while some defended her, calling it an invasion of privacy. But for Can, it didn't matter what the world thought, he just felt betrayed. Back in her apartment, Sara was shaking. Tears streamed down her face as she scrolled through the chaos. Every second, another article appeared. Another rumor. Another piece of her life torn apart. She dialed Stefano again, no answer. Then, suddenly, her phone buzzed. It was Can. Her stomach twisted. She hesitated, her hand trembling, before finally answering. "Can," she whispered. His voice was calm, but distant, too calm. "Is it true? Please, let me explain, just answer me, Sara. Is it true?" She closed her eyes, sobbing. "I didn't mean to lie. I was afraid. I thought if I told you, I'd lose you." He didn't respond right away. The silence between them was unbearable. Finally, he said quietly, "You just did." The line went dead. Sara dropped the phone and broke down completely. Outside, thunder rolled through the city. Inside, she was falling apart. And somewhere, Stefano was standing by his window, staring out at the rain, guilt slowly creeping into his chest. He had done what he thought was right. But now, watching the storm unfold, he wasn't so sure anymore. "I warned you," he whispered. "But maybe I went too far." The next morning, silence filled every corner of Sara's apartment. Her phone had stopped ringing hours ago, but the quiet was worse than the chaos. Every notification from the night before had left scars, angry comments, betrayal memes, old interviews resurfacing with headlines like, "Did Sara always hide the truth?" She sat on the edge of her bed, her hair messy, eyes swollen from crying. In front of her, the same phone that had once connected her to the world now felt like a weapon turned against her. The TV in the background played the morning news. The headline on screen read, "Scandal breaks, leaked messages between Sara Bluma and Stefano surface, Kenyaman cuts contact." Her throat closed as she watched old clips of her and Ken smiling at red carpets, laughing during interviews. The anchor's voice sliced through her like glass. Sources close to Kenyaman confirm he has broken all communication with Sara following last night's revelations. She muted the TV. The world didn't need to tell her what she already knew, it was over. Meanwhile, in another part of the city, Ken sat alone in his apartment. He hadn't slept. His phone was filled with unanswered calls, half-written messages he couldn't bring himself to send. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw her. The woman who had once been his peace, now a stranger wrapped in lies. He didn't hate her. Not yet. What he felt was something far worse, disappointment. He had trusted her completely, defended her when others judged, believed her when she said she wanted a future together. And now, all of that felt like a performance that ended too suddenly. His best friend called. "Can, you need to say something publicly before this gets worse." "I don't owe anyone anything," Ken replied coldly. "You owe yourself clarity, bro, otherwise, they'll keep twisting the story." Ken sighed, staring out the window. "They can say whatever they want. I just don't want to hear her name again." He hung up. But even as he said it, he knew it wasn't true. Across town, Stefano was facing a storm of his own. His name was trending too, #StefanoLeaks, #The Warning, #The Man Behind the Messages. His inbox was flooded with requests for interviews, collaborations, even threats. What he thought would be a righteous act had turned into a nightmare. He replayed Sara's tearful voice in his mind from the night before. "Please, don't do this. You'll destroy me." She had been right. At that moment, his sister walked into the room, slamming her phone on the table. "You did this?" she said angrily. "You ruined her. Do you even know what you've done?" Stefano didn't answer. He just stared at the floor. "I didn't mean to. I just wanted him to know." "Know what?" she snapped. "That you still care? That you couldn't let go?" He looked up, his voice breaking. "No. That she wasn't who he thought she was." "Maybe she changed," his sister said quietly. "Maybe you're the only one who hasn't." Her words hit him harder than any headline. For the first time, Stefano realized that what he had done wasn't about truth, it was about ego. About pain. About not being able to stand the thought that Sara had found peace while he was still stuck in the past. That afternoon, a paparazzi photo went viral, Ken walking alone near the Tiber River, wearing sunglasses, head down, phone in hand. The caption read, "He looks broken." Sara saw it too. Her heart shattered all over again. She wanted to call him, to explain, to tell him it wasn't what everyone thought. But what could she say? The messages were real. The lies were hers. She typed a message anyway. "Ken, please let me explain. It's not what it looks like. I was scared. I never meant to hurt you." She stared at the screen for a long time before pressing send. He read it instantly. 3 dots appeared for a few seconds, then disappeared. No reply. Tears streamed down her face as she whispered to herself, "I've lost him forever." Meanwhile, Stefano sat alone in his apartment, the glow of his phone screen reflecting off his eyes. He opened a new message, hesitated, and typed, "I made a mistake, Sara. I never wanted this." He never sent it. He deleted the words, turned off the phone, and sat there in silence, realizing that in trying to reveal the truth, he had destroyed everything that was left of it. And as night fell over Rome again, 3 people sat in 3 different places, surrounded by silence and regret, each asking the same question, "What have I done?" The storm had finally passed, but the air it left behind was heavy, the kind of heaviness that stays long after the thunder fades. For the world, it was just another celebrity scandal. For Ken, Sara, and Stefano, it was the end of something far more personal: trust, innocence, and the illusion that some truths can stay buried forever. Days turned into weeks. Sara had vanished from the public eye. No posts, no appearances, no smiles. She had left Rome, choosing the quiet solitude of her family's villa by the sea. The once glamorous woman who filled headlines was now just a silhouette against the horizon, her days filled with silence and reflection. Every morning, she scrolled through old photos of her and Ken, their laughter, their ease, their closeness. Each image felt like a lie now, tainted by what she hadn't said. Sometimes she whispered to herself, "If only I'd told him sooner." But regret, like the sea, only echoed back the things you can't change. In Istanbul, Ken was learning to live differently too. He buried himself in work, on set from dawn till midnight, smiling when the cameras rolled, silent when they stopped. His friends said he looked calmer, but those who really knew him could see it, that flicker of sadness behind his eyes, that slight pause when someone mentioned her name. He never spoke about the scandal. Not once. But one night, while filming a quiet scene under the rain, something in him broke. Between takes, he turned to his co-star and said softly, "The hardest part of love is realizing that the truth doesn't always save you. Sometimes it's what destroys you." The crew fell silent. No one said a word. The cameras kept rolling, capturing the rawest emotion he had ever shown, not as an actor, but as a man finally letting go. Stefano, on the other hand, had disappeared completely. No interviews, no social media, nothing. Rumors said he had left Italy, maybe for Spain, maybe somewhere no one knew him. But one night, months later, a journalist received an anonymous envelope. Inside, there was a letter written by hand, and signed, with only one line, "Truth without compassion is just another form of cruelty." The journalist never published it. Months passed. Then, one morning, Ken opened his phone and saw something that made him stop breathing for a second. It was a post, Sarah's first in a long time.